Welcome to Let's Talk Pets with your host, Linda Weston, right here on News Talk 107.7 and 1400 The Hub.
Good Saturday morning, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk Pets, a fun program. Very happy to be part of the fabulous Hub family lineup of programs. I'm Linda Weston, your host from Friends of Cookeville-Putnam County Animals, a nonprofit, totally volunteer support group for the Cookeville-Putnam County Animal Shelter. This morning, my co-host, Sarah Hollick-Webb from Friends of Cookeville-Putnam County Animals, is with me here in the studio, as well as animal lover and owner of Integrative Animal Solutions, a wonderful store located in Sparta, and her name is Tracy Farley. So we are so glad to have her with us this morning. Sarah, before we get started, let's just take a minute and thank our sponsors who make this show possible.
We are grateful to Pet Supplies Plus, located in the Walmart Shopping Center.
And Copeland Veterinary Hospital on 10th Street with 24-hour emergency service.
And Cumberland Pet Essentials, offering pet grooming, styling, and a spa, holistic foods, nutritional counseling, and a pet boutique at 142 South Willow in the Willow Tree Plaza.
And Friends of Cookeville-Putnam County Animals. So many thanks to each of these groups. So now we get to say good morning, Tracy, and welcome to Let's Talk Pets.
Good morning, Linda. Hi.
Well, we are very glad to have you with us. We've commented on previous shows that there are so many choices of pet foods that are now available that it's sometimes really hard to know which is the right choice for your pet. So today, let's kind of go through the ABCs of learning about the different types of foods readily available for pets, both cats and dogs. And maybe let's start with how was pet food developed in the first place?
Well, Linda, that's a question I get asked a lot. And really, a lot of people don't stop and think about where did we think that we started with pet food? What defines pet food? Why is it different from what our food might be? And who labeled it this way? So basically, it started back in the 1860s. We had an electrician who came from Ohio, and he started traveling through the UK to sell lightning rods, of all things. He started noticing while he was in the UK that the sailors who would come off the ships would start feeding stray animals along the shoreline, biscuits that they ate just to kind of keep their energy up and to have something sustainable to have on the ships. So he started looking at this. People biscuits, yes. So he started looking at this and thinking this would be an easy, convenient way to get some dry food into our animals. And so he just sort of started putting together a little formula that he kept very secret, by the way. And he was not very transparent about what was in it. But he started marketing and developed a Spratz biscuit formula. It came in 50-pound bags, and it was quite expensive at the time. It took about a full day's pay for the average person who was more wealthy than your average farmer or worker to feed their pets. And that's where it all began. A company that we're all familiar with called Purina got a hold of this way back in the day, and they sort of started to cash in on it. No one ever really knew exactly what was in it in the early times, but we do know from history that Purina started adding meat sources, which was typically horse meat, unfortunately, at that time. And now it is sort of developed into what we know as a major segment of the marketing industry for our pets. And it's been developed over the years to meet certain guidelines, supposedly, but there's still a lot of lack of transparency in the dog food, cat food market. And so that's kind of what I like to do, is educate people into that and what is really in their pet's food and how to look at it a little bit differently.
Well, this just kind of shows that people have always had an interest in taking care of pets and companion animals. And we now know that our pets are our kids. We're seeing more and more people that are taking more of an interest of what's going into their pets' bodies. There's not, like you said, there's not a lot of transparency. There's not a lot of truth in labeling. So it gets really tough. But there's a lot of kind of niche-based foods and pet food varieties out there, and it can get really overwhelming to your average consumer. We have no idea sometimes what we're buying. We just either go by the pretty packaging, or sometimes we go by, well, it's really expensive, so I bet that's good. And that's
that's a picture of my pet.
I'm like, that's my dog. So that's obviously not the best way to purchase food that goes into your pet and, has everything to do with their overall health.
That's correct, Sarah, and I couldn't agree more. It's easy to look at a bag. For me, I have German Shepherds, and if I see a pretty German Shepherd on a bag, it certainly does spark my interest, right? So, and the same thing if I had a poodle or or my cat, if it looks like my cat. So it's very easy, and that's a marketing trick that is used quite often, unfortunately, and it's become very difficult to dissect what the labeling really is telling you. I'll give you an example of one that I use quite often and that I see quite a lot is peas. They're using a lot of peas in the food, but they break it down into different segments. So you might see pea listed, but you'll see it 3 times, one in pea protein, pea powder, and then just whole peas sometimes. So it's by volume. And even though peas may be down on the list, but it's listed 3 times, it's weighed out differently because it's put in as different segments into the product. So you might actually have a whole lot of peas in there in the very beginning or in the very end.
Okay.
Whereas it's listed as maybe lower down on the labeling. And people don't really realize that it's wet volume. Not dry volume that's actually in that where it's weighed and what's listed on the label. So, and that's for the cats and the dog food, either one.
Well, let's talk a little bit about adding raw foods to a pet's diet, because that's a whole subject that there's a lot of misconception
I think
about.
that there is a lot of confusion on that. I've heard just in general conversation, people that just simply don't understand the terminology, and they hear raw and they think of something very different than what is actually you want to feed your pet.
That's correct, yes. And it is a little confusing. And a lot of people think you can just go to the grocery store and buy some chicken or buy some hamburger
Round
meat.
it up and
Right. just open the package and put it in a bowl. And that's just not the case. Unfortunately, we just can't do that. Dogs and cats are both, carnivores. They're meant to eat meat. And, if you stop and think about it, one of the marketing tricks on a bag of kibble is usually meat is our number one ingredient. Well, if that's so great, but it's being taunted by certain segments of the pet industry, then why would we use that as a marketing technique? So what I try to explain to people is that feeding raw needs to be, number one, balanced. Absolutely has to be a balanced diet. So it has to be appropriate for that pet. There are lots of different ways to determine that. And, size, age, health needs, anything like that can determine what is really appropriate for that pet. The other thing that you really want to make sure of is that it's safe. And so when we go to the grocery store and we buy a pack of chicken, that chicken is supposed to be cooked. And it's not tested for pathogens because we're going to cook those pathogens out, So with pet food, we have a FDA compliance that has to be followed, and they have a 0 tolerance policy, which means there can be absolutely no bacteria in that food. So it's very, very safe. It's safe to handle just the way you would your food. Make sure you wash your hands. Make sure you clean up after, the utensils where you prepare your pet's food. All of these things can make a difference, and washing your pet bowls. But it's very safe to feed the raw diets to animals. And we're not looking at things that have, or we don't have, unclean, unsafe. And one of the ways that they do that is high pressurized pasteurization. You can use an ozone washer. The companies who manufacture this can use an ozone wash. There's a very, broad range of ways that you can do that, but it's extremely safe.
I really like that you brought up the 0 tolerance policy by the FDA, because this is actually a higher standard, just like what you had said. If you slap down a piece of a raw chicken breast that you buy from the grocery store that is meant to cook for our consumption, for human consumption, that dog food is actually going to be at a higher level, a higher, because it is 0 tolerance. It has no bacteria in it. It's a higher level than our own food. Of course, yes, we are certainly supposed to cook our food, and so this is definitely meant for different consumption. But I'm really glad that you brought that up, because this isn't just some kind of crazy, kooky, unregulated market. It is very much regulated.
It's very regulated, and yes, Sarah, you're 100% right there, and it's kind of scary in the fact that in our food there is a lot more pathogens than in our pets' food. But this there's a reason for that. We're going to feed our pets raw. If we're going to feed our pets raw, then I can understand where we need to be, taking these precautions. But dogs are actually meant to utilize and adapt to a certain amount of salmonella in their food. Whereas, E. coli and listeria, that's a whole different ballgame. But when you talk about the salmonella, they actually need these gut bacteria to flourish. So unfortunately, we're having to add back things like probiotics and things to keep them healthy. But if you think about how pets were raised initially before the 1860s, when Mr. Spratt decided he wanted to make pet biscuits, you're really looking at animals who ate whatever was on the farm. Whatever was left over, whatever hog they slaughtered, whatever cow they slaughtered, the barn cats got pieces of that. The dogs got pieces of that. And it was usually the leftover pieces, and it could have been the pieces that weren't, quite up to par for human consumption at that time. And back then, except for the predators that might have been around, our dogs were living into their 20s. Our cats were living into the 30s.
Wow.
So, it was a whole different ballgame then, especially with the health.
Well, we've been mentioning raw food with chicken. Are there other types of raw food?
Oh, gosh, I have such a huge variety at Integrative Animal Solutions, you wouldn't believe. Of course, there's beef. That's a big one, and a lot of people prefer beef. Chicken, there is quail, I have duck, I have rabbit.
Oh, my gosh.
I have pheasant, you name it. I mean, there's turkey, there's all kinds of things. And then we have varieties of those.
So how do you know how much to add to your pet's diet?
Well, that's a very broad range question. And what I typically tell people about that is it's based on their animal size, their age, their metabolism. The breed does play a role with that, as well as what their pet's doing. Are they very active? Are they couch potatoes? Are they already overweight? Those things.
Okay. And I understand, too, that you can, for older pets or smaller pets, you can lightly cook some of this raw food.
Absolutely. It's not ideal for every dog or cat, but some do prefer the warming of the cooked diet. Sure. And then we have pre-cooked diets. So the work is already taken out of it, and you don't have to do anything except open a bag, just like you would kibble, and pour it into a bowl. It's done.
Yeah, because some of our pets are spoiled when they smell it.
They are.
Well, we need to take just a quick little break here, but there is so much more to talk about. So don't go away, folks, because we will be right back with more Let's Talk Pets on News Talk 107.7 and 1400. The Hub.
Copeland Veterinary Hospital is a full-service veterinary hospital, including 24-hour emergency assistance, and is located at 821 East 10th Street in Cookeville, focusing on providing the highest quality care to clients and patients through our devotion to client communication, commitment to excellent medical care, and use of innovative diagnostics. Founded in 1970, our veterinarians and support staff can provide a progressive, beneficial, and effective impact on your pet's health. Open Monday through Thursday, 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m., Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., Saturdays from 8 a.m. to noon, and closed on Sunday.
Pet Supplies Plus, located in the Walmart Shopping Center on South Jefferson, is open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily, specializing in pet foods, treats, and edible chews, pet toys, and apparel, pet supplies of all kinds, grooming and health, as well as flea and tick items, offering all major brands and a large selection of natural foods and treats made in the USA. Fish, reptiles, ferrets, and other very small pets available.
Cumberland Pet Essentials has been serving Middle Tennessee since 1989, offering dog and cat grooming and styling. In their natural pet market, they sell dog and cat supplies, accessories, and high-quality trusted brands of food and treats. Owner Karen Rataco is an ISCC certified pet stylist and a certified pet nutritionist. She offers free nutritional counseling, helping owners make healthier choices for their pets. Their store hours are Monday through Saturday, 8 to 5 p.m., located at 142 South Willow Avenue in the Willow Tree Plaza. Give them a call, 931-528-7711, Cumberland Pet Essentials.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Pets with me, your host, Linda Weston, and Cookeville Putnam County Animals Vice President Sarah Hollick-Webb on News Talk 107.7 and 1400, The Hub. So if you're just tuning in, Sarah and I have been talking today with Tracy Farley, who is the owner of Integrative Animal Solutions located in Sparta, about the benefits of adding raw food to your pet's diet. So I want to also say that there are ways to add supplements to all pet diets. And we also need to talk a little bit about the types of dehydrated versus freeze-dried dog food that seems to be so available now everywhere.
It is, and it's actually a big seller for me because the convenience of it is similar to kibble, but you've got all the nutritional value of raw. Unfortunately, it is a little more expensive than a raw diet because there's more work involved, obviously, and it's a condensed product. But dehydrated and freeze-dried is just as valuable and is considered a raw product. It's just the process of which the moisture is taken out of the food. But it is a complete diet. It's very, very simple to add in, and most dogs and cats flourish on it just the same as raw.
Great.
Well, and I just want to kind of circle back for anyone that might just now be joining us, and that we are talking about raw diets, but again, we want to reiterate that this isn't like raw hamburger meat that you buy at the grocery store and slap down in your dog's bowl. There are specific things that you can buy from pet stores that are raw. It's not, we don't want you to go run out and get raw chicken or raw fish or a raw hamburger and just mix it in with your dog's kibble and say, oh, I've integrated a raw diet into my dog's, into my dog or cat's food.
That's correct.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, also, when you were talking about the dehydrated and the freeze-dried, I was thinking about, Sarah, the time that we repackaged dog food into smaller packages to give out to people who needed some food. And we put it all in small brown paper bags, and then we came back and the oils from the kibble had ruined the bag and the floor that it was on. So the dehydrated and the freeze-dried is going to be totally different because it won't have those oils in it, right?
That's correct. Yes, it is completely dry. There's no moisture involved in that process at all. In fact, that's what the purpose is to take all of the moisture out. Yes.
Well, there's a lot of things that people can come into your shop and talk to you about. And this is Tracy with Integrative Animal Solutions in Sparta, Tennessee, and she's located at 19 West Maple. And again, like I said, this is in Sparta. So, but food isn't the only thing that you offer there. You have a really cool variety of things and services that you actually offer at IAS.
Yes, I'm very proud of the little variety of things that I have and how I've set this unique little store up. In addition to the food and the supplements, we have lots of therapy devices. I do a low-level laser rentals, and those are very safe. They're for home use. If you have a veterinary diagnosis for an injured pet or an arthritic pet, you can come in and rent those. We also have our microbubble bath, which is a water and oxygen infused bath. It's a warm water all over the pet. It's like a gentle massage, takes about 10 to 20 minutes depending on the animal's size, and that can really decrease some of these skin issues we see in our pets, the bacterial infections, the yeast, things like that. Of course, we do try to advise people to get to the bottom of those issues, but it can help to get those over that very, very quickly. Then we also have our chiropractic services in there. Dr. Nate Mader comes in about every other week and works on animals in our store. I also offer some self-serve PEMF therapy, which is electromagnetic field, so it's great for decreasing inflammation. And then we also have our ozone therapy, which can do a variety of things, and all of these are all self-serve.
It's really great stuff, and especially with me, that I'm dealing with aging pets. My guys are 15 and up at this point. It's really great to know that there's other services out there and other things out there other than
meds.
Just medication.
Yes.
Yeah, just popping a pill. And, certainly we rely heavily on our vets, and I know you work closely with veterinarians to provide supplemental services on top of, what they're prescribing as well. But it's nice to know that I don't have to dope my dog up. We see that pets have the same reaction to pain meds as humans do. They get sleepy, they get tired, they just want to lay around, and that's not the quality of life that we want for our pets. We want to be able to do things for them, like be able to decrease inflammation in their whole body and have the laser therapy so that their joints can function better. Those are all things that we want for them. So it's nice to know that there's a service out there, and that this is even stuff that we can take home. We don't have to stress our pets out by dragging them one more place or taking them into an unfamiliar place. So it's wonderful to know that this stuff is out there.
Thank you, Sarah. I really appreciate that. And I do agree with you. And it's, we want to work closely with the veterinarians in the area for these diagnoses, as well as empowering the pet parents to come in and to kind of take things into their own hands at times but yet working under their veterinary diagnosis, because it is hard to get in. Sometimes the veterinarians are booked up. They're very busy people.
Right.
They can't be 3 people at once. And so we're here to help with that. And we want people to come in after they've seen their veterinarian and tell us what, they need and what can we do to help. And we will try our best to guide them in the right direction.
Well, I'm all about the micro bubble bath. I mean, doesn't that sound great, especially for pets with several layers of fur, to be able to have that bath and get all those problems out?
And I've heard that, for that perpetually stinky dog, that musty dog, sometimes there are things that are underlying that can create skin problems later, or that they're having right now. Ear infections, things like that, that this micro bubble bath can help. So not only can it make your pet healthier, it can also make your house smell better, potentially.
You think?
It's true. Yes.
Well, let's tell folks how to contact you. Where are you located, and what are your store hours and all that?
Okay. I am at 19 West Maple Street in Sparta, Tennessee. I am right there behind the Oldham Theater and next to the old Sparta Grill on the square, Liberty Square. And my hours are Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, 10 to 6, Saturdays 10 to 2.
Okay.
And you can call and make an appointment for the microbubble bath, or to schedule a laser rental, or just to ask questions. I'm happy to talk to you at any time. I'm usually the only one there, but I'm happy to talk to you. And my number is 931-256-8054.
Well, folks, now you know where to go and what to do. Tracy's a wealth of information, and she offers, and her store's just very cool. I mean, go on her website and check it out. It's very cool.
Well, we were so fortunate to meet Tracy a few years ago, the first
right.
time that we did the Upper Cumberland Pet Expo. And we're bringing the expo back this year. We are so excited. It's going to be October 15th. At Heidelberg's Ag Pavilion out on Gainsborough Grade, right next door to the animal shelter, incidentally. So, again, Saturday, October 15th from 11 to 3. And we're going to have lots of great things. Tracy's going to have a big presence there with Integrative Animal Solutions in conjunction with Dr. Nate Maynard. They're going to have a space for animal chiro and other holistic pet practices. And we're going to have just lots of wonderful, wonderful other vendors. We're so excited. We've got a plethora of trainers, a plethora of groomers coming out. We're going to have nail trims, we're going to have microchipping, rabies clinic, and just some incredible demonstrations as well. So we are so excited. We just had a meeting this week about it, and it's amazing the amount of services, demos, and just wonderful things that we're going to have at Pet Expo. So we're so excited, and we're getting our website up and rolling. So we're going to have lots more information out very soon about that.
Well, Sarah, last year at our Putnam County Fair, the Master Gardeners did this big exhibition, I guess, or exhibit is a better word, called a Snuffle Garden. And it was all things that your pet can sniff or would like to sniff or even chew on a little bit that's healthy for them. It was absolutely adorable, Tracy, if you didn't see it. They used big tires, sometimes even big tractor tires, and they planted good things in there. And it was so darn cute. So they are going to recreate the Snuffle Garden at the Pet Expo.
Oh, wait, that's great.
It'll be wonderful. And that's just, one of the interactive activities that we'll have. And lots of demos, too, for people.
Lots of demos. We're going to have even some places for your pet to play very supervised on some agility equipment.
Right.
We're going to have just wonderful, wonderful areas where you can see adoptable pets.
Right.
Lots of our local rescue organizations are coming out, so we're so excited to see them. Of course, the Cookeville Putnam County Animal Shelter will be there with some of their adoptable babies. So it's going to be really great. If you're a pet parent currently, or even thinking about becoming a pet parent, come out, see some of the services that are offered. Come look at some of our adoptable pets. There'll be lots of things that are going to be very, very informative. And there's going to be services and businesses and things that you didn't even know that we had in our area. I learned so much from our Pet Expo about what is available in our area. And, of course, like I said, Tracy was one of those wonderful wonderful exhibitors that we didn't really know was there.
Right. Well, it's $1 admission, and it's for you and your pet. So feel free to bring your pet. So I remember last year we had, or 2 years ago when we did this, we had, we were hoping maybe 500 people would come, and we had over 2,000 people that came. And I remember, most people came in with one dog, maybe two, but the poor lady who came in with three, each of her dogs wanted to go in a different direction. It was like crazy. So you maybe keep that in mind when you come. But, while we're talking about our shelter being there, please do remember, folks, that right now our shelter is in the middle of an adoption event called Dog Days of Summer. And it's a wonderful event. There are dogs that are sponsored, and you can check out who's available for different prices and things at the Cookeville-Putnam County Animal Shelter. It's just a great time to adopt. I was there the other day, and there are lots of darling dogs there ready to be adopted. So.
It's a full house as always at the Cookeville-Putnam County Animal Shelter.
The truth.
So with every show we throw a lot of information out at you, and this show was no different. So if you would like to hear this show or previous shows again, you can just go to youtube.com and search for CPC, so Cookeville-Putnam County Animal, so CPC Animal Friends, and it will bring up this episode as well as other episodes that we've had in the past, and we encourage you guys to go check that out.
So you can listen to us every day.
Every day.
Yay. Well, that's our show for today. Thank you, Tracy Farley, for being here. And thanks to you, our listeners, for tuning in today. Remember, if you have questions or comments, please email them to us at putnamcountypets@gmail.com. In the meantime, we're wishing everyone a perfect weekend and hope you'll join us here next Saturday, 10 a.m. on News Talk 107.7 and 1400, The Hub.
Friends of Cookeville-Putnam County Animals is a 501c3 nonprofit, all volunteer support group for the Cookeville-Putnam County Animal Shelter. For more information, visit www